Okay, welcome back everyone. It's Jen and Nancy. This video is going to focus on social wellness. A little shorter, we hope, but you never know with us.
That's true.
So some thoughts and examples of social wellness. As we're coming to the end of this pandemic, our social lives have kind of been put on hold for the last, 14 months, and people are gravitating towards each other in a safe way. And that social wellness is so important. We're human beings. We need social interaction with each other. We know that hugging somebody increases our endorphins. So let's get back at it. Social wellness, it's about engaging with people in your community. Your community could be your apartment building, it could be your family, it could be your neighbors, or your larger community. But it's about treating people with respect, maintaining and building strong relationships with friends, but also creating and establishing healthy boundaries that help us with our communication and with solving conflicts.
Absolutely. So sometimes social wellness is called cultural wellness. And it's about the people who we interact with. And that, like Nancy said, family, friends, that could even be colleagues, which also plays into your career wellness, which we'll talk about.
Colleague.
Yes. Look, we're interacting. Social wellness. It's anybody in your social circle. And I think in our intro video, I talked about how that can also include online communities. Because I know, especially during the pandemic, online communities grew and they bloomed and they blossomed and they expanded. And now we're getting back to more face-to-face socialization. But the people that we interact with online are also part of those communities, and we have to, and we have to make sure that we are those boundaries that Nancy just mentioned. We have to make sure that we are maintaining those in our social media interactions as well. And it's, you want the people in your circle to be aware and respectful and trustworthy, empathetic, supportive, all kinds of things that are going to create and foster that healthy environment that's going to keep your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. Social wellness plays into literally everything that we do. So we have to make sure that we surround ourselves with people who understand those boundaries and can also be supportive and there for us when we need them to be.
Absolutely. So the research has shown that people who have healthy relationships actually tend to live better and longer than people who don't have healthy relationships. It also affects how we respond to stress. If we have a network of people when something's going on that we can confide in and talk to and work through some issues, that really helps our whole system. It reduces our stress, our anxiety, results in a healthier endocrine system, healthier cardiovascular function, and improves our immune system. So, having friends, whether they're family or not, whether they're blood relatives or not, is a very important part of being a healthy human. However, there are energy vampires out there. All right? I was telling Jen, I said, I think the first time I heard that term was on Oprah, a long time ago. Energy vampires will suck the life out of you. They're the type of people that will talk about themselves, confide in you, vent to you, but they won't ever ask you, how are you doing? How are things going for you? How was work today? An energy vampire is really almost in the category of like a narcissist. It's always about them. So your choice whether you want to open that door for an energy vampire in your life, or are you able to set a healthy boundary with them so you don't have the life sucked out of you.
Garlic.
Silver crosses.
All those things. But no, boundaries are really important. And even, I know self-care has been a big topic in the media, even before the pandemic, but it really ramped up during the pandemic. Taking care of ourselves. Part of taking care of yourself is setting those boundaries. And people always have that back and forth about selfishness and, well, this person needs me, and that's okay. You can be as altruistic as you want. You can care about other people as much as you want, but make sure that you're also taking care of yourself, because if you are not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of other people? Because if you are sick, exhausted, tired, mentally just drained,
Depleted.
That's the
Yeah.
word. How you can't have, if you have not taken care of yourself, your social interactions aren't going to be as fulfilling. They're not going to be under social wellness. They're just going to be you interacting with people and not being the best of you. And if we are all taking care of ourselves, in turn, that means we're taking care of other people around us as well, which would improve social wellness as a
Absolutely.
network.
And social wellness can be achieved by joining a club, joining a group, a book club, a garden club, a bike club, a hiking club. We have so many different organizations around here. There's quilting clubs. Whatever you enjoy doing, you can find an organization that supports and nurtures that.
Definitely. And this doesn't have to, so I'm sure some people are watching this going, I don't like people that much. I want to stay in, I don't want to people today. That's okay. That's actually a component of social wellness, is knowing when you don't want to people. Sometimes, when you have to go to work, that you have to people. However, if you feel like you need a weekend alone, or a day alone, or a few hours just to yourself, that's part of social wellness, is finding that balance between when you socialize and when you take a step back and are like, I need some me time. So that's part of keeping that balance in social wellness. Just like, to draw a parallel to working out, because we're all, a little bit more familiar with that form of wellness, is when you go to the gym, you have to decide, am I going to do cardio today, or am I going to lift weights? Or maybe I need a yoga class today instead of Zumba, or the other way around. You pick and choose what is going to be best for your body whenever you are focusing on your physical wellness. So when you focus on your social wellness, you have to determine, okay, what level and what type of socialization do I feel like? And even if that, you socialize once a month at book club, and that is the extent of your socializing, that's okay. If you're the kind of person that goes out every single weekend and has like a big dinner with friends and all kinds of stuff, that's okay too. We're all different. We have to find the type of social wellness and boundaries that work best for us.
Absolutely. And Jen reminded me, we have so many group exercise classes. And some people migrate to the group exercise because that is a form of socialization. You have something in common with people there. You're sweating through it. And some people prefer to come in, do their own thing, and head out the door. So, again, whatever floats your boat.
Yes.
Right? Whatever brings you joy.
I misread something that Nancy wrote, but it actually triggered a really good thought. So we're going to roll with it. It's under the boundaries section, and we talked about people who are not on the same page as you. You have to set those boundaries. But the way I read it was, it's important to socialize with people who are different than you. Like, I completely read it wrong. But it makes sense. Learning about people who grew up in a different culture, people who speak a different language, people who eat a different type of cuisine, people who like different types of workouts, people who read different types of books, they have different jobs. I talked to somebody the other day that said in college, one of them was doing community development, and the other one was like an astrophysicist, and they were roommates. And their and like their careers and their studies didn't overlap at all, but they became great friends because they took the time to learn about the other person. So because I misread this actually took us to a very, very key component of social wellness, is try to step outside of your box. Get to know people who are different than you, speak a different language. That's a really big one for me. I've mentioned it twice. It's because that's important to me. But you find what's important to you to learn about people who are different from you, because that will expand your worldview, and it'll make you feel, what's the word I'm looking for here?
I don't know.
Whole, complete.
Exactly.
Part of something bigger. So, there's a lot of different ways. I don't know, what are some of your favorite ways to socialize?
Well, pre-pandemic or post?
Both. Let's go with both.
Well, I personally do better in smaller groups. I love having one-on-one conversations with people and in small groups. I grew up playing a lot of team sports, so I actually migrate more to my own individual workouts now. I'm less of a team person because that was a part of my life for 40 years. So now I enjoy my yoga and my workouts on my own. But I love going out to dinner with people. I love small gatherings, and Who doesn't love a good barbecue?
Right? I'm very similar. And honestly, for me, it depends on what mood I'm in.
That's a big one.
Yes. Like, sometimes I just need me time, hanging out with my dogs, and that's it. And sometimes I'm like, let's invite 60 people over, I'm grilling. Yeah. Let's do it.
There you go.
Yeah, so having moods and emotions that go into your social health, that's great. Actually, speaking of moods and emotions, there's one more thing that I want to touch on. People talk a lot about toxic negativity and toxic people and things like that, which we all want to avoid. And if you realize that when you're, a lot of it is an energy, it's a vibe. When you're around somebody that you always feel like anxious or uneasy or like, I just feel so drained and negative, those energy vampires a lot of times will be toxically negative people. It's a-okay to avoid those situations, to limit those interactions, even with people at work. Figure out a way to limit those as best as you can. But on the flip side, there are also those people, toxic positivity is a thing. The people who will tell you that, you have to be happy all the time. You have to be positive all the time. And that's not the case. You have to feel your feelings, and that's okay. So if you need to limit your exposure to both toxic negativity and positivity to find that balance, it's all about balance, really.
It is.
In every realm of wellness. That's okay too. I just wanted to highlight that just in case you weren't aware that people, if you get exhausted by people who are saying, oh, no, just have a positive outlook. That's normal to get exhausted by that because sometimes you just want to sit in your feelings, and that's okay.
That's true.
So I just wanted to highlight that because that's
a really good point.
Yeah.
And just allow yourself to understand that you can't really have healthy relationships with unhealthy people. And that's a big one. So I mean, as important as our social wellness is, also understanding that if somebody is not a healthy person and they affect you in a negative way, that's where your boundary setting has to come in.
Yes.
And sometimes if I'm going into a difficult situation, I always have an exit plan.
The exit strategy.
Gotta have an exit strategy. It's like, if this goes south, how am I going to get out of it? Not thinking negatively, but realistically, when you know who you're interacting with, sometimes you got to have that exit plan.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to wrap this one up, and we will see you for the next wellness video, which is going to be focusing on the environment.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us today.